We need all of this that we know, because the people who are making the most amount of profit from everything that we're doing, from all of our creativity, still goes back to these corporations, still goes back to a lot of these men primarily that we're seeing doing the most heinous things behind the scenes, and sometimes not even behind the scenes, right in front of our faces, but there's nobody to hold them accountable, because when you have a certain level or a certain amount of power and influence and proximity to governmental structures, who really is going to hold you accountable? So, for the sake of our autonomy and our agency, we are going to eventually divest en masse from social media in the way that we know it. These platforms, we still do want to tell stories. We still do want to create. We still do want to connect, but we're going to get very creative about how we do this, because we didn't always have this setup. And when we realize the amount of surveillance that's now coming, alongside making the content in the way that we do. You know, there's that guy on social, or is it on TikTok, or he's across the platforms, where just by a snapshot of where you're making your video, within a few minutes or whatever, he can find where you are in the world. And we're watching this and we're like, ha 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 ha, no, because if he can do it, other people can do it as well. And when I think about, for instance, the content creators who are making spicier content on specific platforms, their safety, they're really worried about that at the moment, because some of these people who are subscribing, some of these men, are trying to use these same tools to track them down, to essentially dox them. So we are going to find ourselves in a rather precarious situation, where we're having to think even more so about our security, our physical security, and not just think of the online space as merely an online space. You know, some people say it's not that deep. You know, it's only the internet, switch off your phone. Well, now that the internet, as it were, is embedded, entrenched into every facet of our life, we start thinking about that on a broader scale now, because initially it was just the quote unquote influencers or content creators who would know to delay when they're posting, so they're not at the location at the time of posting. But some people aren't as well versed at doing some of these things, and we're seeing that there are real life consequences to that. So I think with the simultaneous kind of crumbling of celebrity culture, people will want as much as possible at a point to move further away from that sort of aesthetic, and they want to be seen as everyday as possible. Um, and so that's going to play a role into how we continue to use social media.